Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Kris, joined by my brother, Eric.
Hello.
We're not joined by Adam this week. He's actually off at a Comic Con, so hopefully when he comes back, he'll be able to fill us.
Nerd.
Yeah, big nerd.
Big
He'll be able to
nerd.
fill us in on all of that. But we are back in the room to talk more about video games. The nominees for Game of the Year are up at the moment. People should go check them out. We did share them on our Facebook page, so go check them out. But one of the games that came up in a few different categories was Kena, Bridge of Spirits, which is a game that myself and Eric have both played and completed, and we know that Adam has not. So while he's not here, we're taking the opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah.
But this will be a spoiler-filled discussion for the most part. At the very beginning, we'll just give our kind of non-spoiler take on it in case you're someone that hasn't really heard much about Kane at all. And it might inform your decision whether you want to go and play it and then come back for the rest of the discussion. But otherwise, if you're someone who has played the game or watched someone stream the game, or you don't care and you just want to hear two guys talk about Kane and Bridge of Spirits, then you can check out this whole discussion. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please do jump down in the comments at any point to share your own thoughts. And if you enjoyed this, give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click the notification bell for future content. And if you're listening to us on audio platforms, then you can touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to give your take on Kena, Bridge of Spirits, and anything else that we bring up in this episode. But without further ado, let's talk about the rot. Okay, so to start off the discussion, I suppose let's just give a non-spoiler take on the game overall now, since we've both completed it. Eric, what do you make of this game?
Well, fucking beautiful for sure. The animation style that they went with is very fitting for the game that it is. Like the expressions and everything like that. The out of play, like considering this is their first game they ever made, really well done. Absolutely top notch. Like considering you have these other gaming companies doing it for years, multi-million-dollar, and they seem to keep fucking up the thing or they're making it worse or whatever. These guys did a really phenomenal job. It's filled with such heart. Like the story has like the game, the story has a lot of heart to it and a lot of like it works as a game, but it also could have just worked as like a animated movie. Like it works both. The designs, the sound design and the actual designs of everything is just phenomenal. Amazing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more positives for this game than there are negatives. And when we get into the more spoilery talk stuff, like we probably do have our own little negatives to talk about the game. If you're looking for a comparison in terms of, is this game for you to try it out? It's very like a Zelda game. I think if you like Zelda games, you will like this game. And if you don't like Zelda games, there's a good chance you won't like this game. However, maybe the charm or the identity of this game might win you over. The animation style is very Pixar-esque. Very like Raya and the Last Dragon or those kinds of movies. I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. And sometimes would forget that this is an indie game. And it is classed as an indie game. And it's in all the indie categories. And for that reason, and the fact that it was €40 to buy at the time, it might be cheaper now with sales on at the moment and stuff. If you're going to spend your money on a game right now, Kena for 40 quid is so much more worth it than Battlefield 2042 is for like 70 quid. And it has no campaign mode and it's broken as fuck. Yeah. Or the GTA trilogy, which Rockstar have now apologized for. Or, some of these huge games by huge studios aren't meeting the mark. But I have to say, Kena, it falls short in places for sure, but I think Ember Labs have done an amazing job. I didn't experience a single glitch in this entire game. It's basically an indie game that reaches for a AAA status.
Yeah. They did, yeah, they did really like. It's kind of getting to one of those things now, isn't it? Where even you'd see it in the movie industry, you might see it in the TV show industry, where the kind of indie smaller people seem to be able to do better because they're making it for the love of it, the love of the art,
Yeah.
more so than we're trying to, fill a quota. We're trying to follow the kind of this works. So we just put all this in, and it's so formulaic that they almost all start to look the same.
Mhm.
But like something like Kana is so, that and Life is Strange, like it's so kind of unique in its style. The minute you see it, you know what it is. But a lot of the first person shooter games all kind of look the same. It's kind of sometimes hard to tell what am I looking at right now. Which one is this again?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, Kana is just, it just blew me out of water. It's just amazing. Just brought smiles to my face the whole time.
Would you recommend it?
That would, yeah, like you said, if like it would depend on who I'm talking to. Like if there's someone who does love, let's say, well, not Battlefield 2042, that's broken as fuck, but let's say something like Call of Duty or Halo. No, not really. Like if someone's looking for multiplayer, because it has no multiplayer, I wouldn't really recommend it. But if someone's looking for a rich story or just a nice, cute time, or even an emotional time, sometimes it gets a little hurt. Yeah, I'd recommend it.
One thing I will say there, we might disagree, but I think if you're looking for a nice, cute time, you'll actually be surprised. I think this game is more challenging than you're going to expect going in.
What I mean by cute, right? It's challenging as fuck, which is what makes it like
challenging game.
That's what makes it like I had to drop the difficulty while I was playing it. Because yes, it is quite a challenging game. That's what makes it a lot like Legend of Zelda.
Yeah,
is that it's quite challenging. What I meant by cute was like the two kids you meet at the start, or like the rot. The rot are cute. You know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of idea. Like, yeah, that's what I meant by cute. No, because some of the visuals are kind of like this is horrific. This looks horrible. Yeah, this looks horrifying.
Yeah, and definitely, and so it is a challenging game, and it's a puzzle game more than anything else. Even the combat scenarios are puzzle orientated.
Yeah,
like because there's always a way you have to figure out to defeat a particular enemy type or whatever it is. So it is a puzzle game. As opposed to a hack and slash or something like that. If anyone has seen some of the combat and they might think it's going to be a hack and slash, it's not. It's not a hack and slash. It's definitely a puzzle game. It's very much a Zelda game, true and true. Like they've created and crafted an original story, but they've worn their influences on their sleeves, I think, throughout the game.
Yeah.
But now we're going to get into spoiler territory for the rest of the discussion. So if you haven't played the game, or if you're just intrigued by what we just said and you're going to go check it out, we do recommend that you do check it out if it sounds like something you're interested in. It's not one to miss, really. It is a really, really solid, well-made game. But if you know exactly what happens in it, then welcome to the rest of the discussion. Or if you want to get it spoiled on you right now, it's about to. So, Eric.
Yes.
What did you think of the story overall?
It was fine. Overall.
Yeah, I get you.
It was overall fine. And the reason it was overall fine, I think, was more to do with a structure system rather than the actual story itself. The story itself was good. And like Legend of Zelda, or like actually a lot of the a bit like a Metroidvania game. You have to go one way, you get one thing, and lets you go that way, and then you get a new item and lets you crawl up there and find some hidden treasure. Right, like it has a lot of that stuff. So you have to do something 3 times, and then when you're fighting a boss, sometimes you have to do a certain challenging 3 times. Right, that's all fine. That's the story.
Yeah, it follows the rule of 3, doesn't it?
Follows the rule of 3, which is a story gameplay mechanic. But the fact that it starts, and I think you said this, you and Adam said this when you first played it before I picked it up, was now every story does have to start in the middle, sort of, right? Now, not necessarily the middle as in what Kena Bridge of Spirits does, which is very
Right.
much the middle, where you're like, okay, what's going on? Like, she very clearly knows more than what we do. And it
Mhm.
takes like till the end of the game where you kind of go, oh, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, you
Because
finally catch up by the
yeah,
end of the game.
while if you take, it'd be the equivalent of if Star Wars started with Luke being in Dagobah, you know what? Like,
Mhm.
rather than it
He's in the
starting,
middle of training, and you're like, "Oh,
yeah,
what's
and
going
they're
on?"
talking, yeah, they talk about Empire, and they talk about Leia, and you're like, who the fuck is Leia? What the hell's going on? While Star Wars actually starts with how every story starts, which is the everyday life. So Luke being a farmer, just wants to get power converters for his yoke jogger. I don't know, fucking know the quote, but anyway, right? So that part is where it's a bit kind of, it slightly falls down
Hmm.
because I thought it'd be nicer if the start of the game started with the tutorial of becoming a spirit guide,
Yeah.
and then it ventures into that. That then would at least show like you do, like you still have mystery to find out why was there a big explosion and why is everyone in this village dead, and then
Yeah, I'm in total agreement, really. I think this game has a really, really good story
Hmm.
that's kind of hidden for far too long to the player. So it's like there's a great story, but it's told badly.
Yeah, it's like told.
Um, and not that I want, like, we don't want stories spoon fed to us. Like,
No, like you can piece stuff together. Like she does introduce herself. I'm Kane. I'm a spirit guide, and hello spirits and everything like that.
yeah,
Like you can figure it out,
yeah.
but it's just her motivation for why she's there and why she's what she's wanting to do. It takes too long, so it becomes very difficult to actually connect to Kana because you don't know her motivation. You connect to everyone else really easily.
Yeah.
Because you can see their motivations and their journey. You see glimpses like that moment when you're going after the first spirit. What's his name? Taka, was it?
Yeah, or Taro.
Taro, right? When you're first going after him, you get the quick real glimpse, and it's awesome. It's so fucking cool. The visuals are awesome. The rain coming down and everything, the lightning. And you keep getting bits and bits and bits until eventually all culminates together. And you've also gotten hints of dialogue from people about the character of Taro.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's kind of how the story should have been done for Kana herself, because you're getting lots of stuff about Taro without it being so spoon fed to you. And therefore, like with Kana, it's just like by the end of it, it's, oh, I wanted to see my dad because he died.
Yeah, and she inherited the staff from him, right? She became the spirit guide then. It was a role that was inherited at an age probably too young. But yeah, it is a shame that you don't know that sooner, because Kana's a nice
great character. Yeah,
she's a nice character. Like,
yeah.
I do feel like they're going to be making more though. I think this did well enough that they can make a sequel with a bigger budget.
Yeah, and you know what? This is one of those games where, because sometimes there's some games where it's a bit like, you know what, this is fine on its own. It only needs one.
Yeah.
But this is one where like Legend of Zelda, you could kind of keep going with it because it was such a small little area.
Yeah.
There's so much more to explore.
The only thing is,
what do you do afterwards?
no, yeah, if they do a second one, which I kind of hope they do, or if not a sequel to this, I just hope Ember Labs make another game.
And another game.
They did a really good job with their first time making a game.
Yeah.
I think this is a really great first effort, and I think they could make more. And they're a very creative studio in terms of their designs and
the
story that came up with. The designs are amazing.
So good.
But if they do an actual sequel,
right,
follow up to this, I do not want the Rot.
No, that wouldn't make sense.
Right? But here's the thing. And I don't want anyone to think I don't like the rot. I loved the rot in this game. They're brilliant. And the game is built around them and you use them for so many mechanics. But you would have to come up with something different for the sequel because of how this game ends. You can't undo that just for the sake of
gameplay.
But everyone loves the rot. You know, like that would be, it would just ruin
I think
the story.
It'd be really cool that maybe they do it, maybe they wouldn't do it. You could have the rot, but as the rot god, and you're like riding on the actual rot god, jumping from place to place. Like
that thing looked amazing.
That was so fucking cool.
And I finally understood why they're called the rot.
I still don't.
I think it's
I know it's called the rock. There's called the rock god. I get that, but
I think I understand why. Because everything, the rock god is there to ensure the cycle of everything, like in nature, dying and regrowing. Everything must rot.
Oh, okay.
And that's the point of the game, isn't it? The
cycle of life and death.
Yeah, but the food and everything in the area had gone rotten. And the vegetation had gone rotten. And the elder was saying, we need to move to a different area. But the leader of the village was like, no, this is our home.
Yeah.
I just want to know why the fuck our stuff isn't growing back. And it's like he couldn't accept nature. And as a result, he kind of corrupted it. It's a really great story, really. When you finally get to the villain, it's like that, and the final act is fucking awesome. It's so good. It really is so good. It's one of the best gaming moments this year. Is that whole final act? Because I'll be honest, it took me way longer to finish this game than it should have. Because I started before you.
Yeah.
Then you picked it up and then you finished it, right?
Yeah.
And I only finished it like last week.
Yeah.
And the reason it took me so long was because I really enjoyed the first act. It has a 3-act structure. There's 3 spirits you have to help.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the first act. And I thought it gave a good glimpse into what's going on in the world, right? I really did not enjoy the second act.
Okay.
I found that boring. And also because of the structure of looking for 3 things again for another spirit that was just another kind of random spirit in the village, I was like, oh, how many of these am I going to be doing?
Oh, okay.
So then I was getting a bit worried about like, how long is this game and what's the repetition? And is it just a collection of mini stories? In which case I was like, okay, I was hoping there'd be more to the story, but this doesn't seem like there's going to be. So I do think, personally, the middle act is the weakest.
Okay.
Other people might disagree. But the third act, when you're dealing with the villain, is fucking amazing. So good. Really good.
The visual moment of when he like strikes her down and she just seeps into the water and the crystal starts to break and everything like that.
I want that as my screensaver.
That's so good.
It's a screensaver moment.
That's another thing as well. They never explain how she gets the crystal back. It breaks and then it just kind of comes back. That doesn't matter.
Yeah. Some things are just like, what?
Yeah. The grant. But yeah, that thing, the rot becoming evil.
Oh my god, the rock god.
The rock god
was fucking like satanic.
Bloodborne. It was something straight out of Bloodborne, like.
Really, really fucking cool. And it took me a couple of goes to figure out how the fuck do I beat this thing.
Oh yeah,
I was like hitting all the wrong parts. But once I figured it out, I was like, I got really into it, and I was like, this is a fucking epic fight. And the music, holy shit! Throughout the game, it has a great score. The music is amazing. Yeah. The game is surprising, really surprising.
Like because the game starts off quite nice. If you go on, she's like, "Oh, random spirit, I will help you," and then he fucks off. Which is the introduction to the villain. You're fighting the corrupted enemies, and then you find the 2 kids, and there's the cute little Disney kids, which I thought were actually going to be in it a lot more.
So did I. Yeah, so did I.
I really thought they were going to be like the kind of comedy relief of it. And then you see the Rot, and the Rot has a little cute smile on its face. And then just as the game progresses, it's like, it still like, oh, this is quite nice. And you're fighting some enemies and stuff. And it's when you get the Taro and the fucking storm comes on, the rain comes in, you see the kid, and then all the wood starts to like come and stick to him. And it becomes this like big fox creature with a sword. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's
fucking awesome.
It is badass. Like there's some great boss fights.
Yeah.
Throughout the game, enter. That one is particularly good. I really liked that boss fight. And I liked all of the boss fights in the final act.
Yeah. Really
the three like shadowy henchmen, which I wish were in the game more, because they actually reminded me of something like the Hunter boss fight. I was like, this is the fear.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
This is fucking amazing. And then the is it the Mask Maker?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It was more like a ninja, and it's like he's a real shadowy kind of fight. Like they're very different fights. But I is it that they are representations of the villain himself, or are they their own characters?
I think they're their own characters.
Okay.
Like I think the Hunter the Hunter itself is just a maybe. Actually, I don't know.
Because the Hunter was female, weren't they?
Yeah, I think the Hunter was female.
They were. Yeah.
Maskmaker was kind of more mage-like, and then the warrior was obviously warrior.
Big fucking brute.
Yeah. So I think they were like kind of ancient elders, or like they were themselves, I think, leaders of the village at some point, and therefore, again, the leader having such pride in being the leader of the village and wanting to stay there, it's like he uses them to guard his particular things. Yeah. Because he has a more connection with them than he would with the elder or the Rot god.
They're so fucking cool.
Yeah. I really love actually just the cinematics of like Taro's story, and then Adira's was like something out of like fantasy Iron Man, like when she fucking puts on the metal yoke and then starts hammering away, and they made the big stone ox. Yeah. That's one thing though I did think was a bit weird with her character. They kept calling her the woodsmith or something like that. Yeah. But yet everything she crafted was made out of stone. Right. Yeah. Should you not be called a stonesmith?
Yeah. Who came up with his name?
But no, I really liked all that stuff.
There was a lot of characters in it that I thought were going to play bigger roles throughout, like those little kids. But also, there's like the first mentor character you meet who teaches you how to use the bow.
Oh, with the owl mask, he's cool. I like him.
He's very cool, and I did think that I was like, okay, so he is going to like guide you throughout the game, almost like a Sensei Ishikawa from Ghost of Tsushima, right? Or something. Yeah, he reminded me of that. But yeah, once you finish with Taro, he's gone.
Yeah, and same with
back.
Hannah. After Hannah's gone.
Yeah,
once you're done with Adira,
and then I suppose you're just dealing with kind of the old man for the final act. Then,
yeah,
as your guide throughout. Did you know that as you're using the Rot, you know the way the more you get, they start turning into something? Did you kind of figure out, okay, towards the end, that's going to turn into something, one big full form or something like that?
Well, not necessarily towards the end. It was more so I kind of thought to myself, if I did get all of them, it would be a bigger. But I did notice that kind of panther design with the antlers. I was just like, oh, that's a really cool design.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of thought that was about it. Like, and it was going to become, if I got all of them, let's say, which I didn't, but if I did get all of them, that it would become some big form just when I was using it.
Yeah.
Or, get me some new ability or something like that. But I didn't really think I didn't think much of them.
Yeah. I had figured that they were, just when I saw that as a mechanic, it saw the thing that it turned into, and that the more you collect, I had no idea that they would be the actual main plot, or like that they used to be the god of this region. Like, but I did figure that, okay, so they're pieces of one thing.
Right.
And we're putting them back together. So I did think that, but I didn't in any way think that they were actually part of the cause of the whole
thing.
They're
the MacGuffin of it.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah. So I'm a little confused about
why she's just so like, hello, little guy, I'll collect you and I'll collect more of your little friends. And I am not going to put a pass on what you are at all.
Right.
That's one thing that I
that's
when
true,
reflecting on, I'm like, hold on a second. Like, she's just so nonchalant with these.
She is. She has no idea what they are though either.
No, but that's the point. Like, she doesn't know what they are. And that's why I didn't put much pass on them transforming. That's why I didn't put much pass on the idea of, oh, we're collecting all of them and making them something bigger.
Sure.
Because I thought they were just like something part of the world. Like,
Yeah.
they're everywhere, sort of like they're what spirit guides use.
Mhm.
That's what I thought, like, because she's just so, yes, hello, little friend.
Hello, little guy.
Yeah. And
You
then
wanna
even
come
with
with me?
the corruption, it's like, how often does that corruption happen?
I love those kinds of fucking stories where in fantasy where nature has been corrupted and it's corrupting like the people and the creatures are. It's such a time. It's very reminiscent of the Dark Crystal.
Yes.
In fact, the plot of this is the Dark Crystal. In a way, kind of. But I am confused about what's the villain's name again?
I
can't
gives
remember.
an M. Masako?
Is it M?
Maybe not.
I can't remember. But anyway,
the villain, the leader of the village. Yeah.
So when he picks up like a staff or a spear or whatever to like take on the rot, it has that pink glow that becomes the kind of corruption.
Right.
Where did that come from?
Him?
Is it his own manifested anger and grief? Or was the land already poisoned, or like what? I'm a little confused about what caused that. Because yes, when he stabs the rock god with that, it kind of sends a huge burst of this corruption everywhere.
Yes, and destroys a lot of stuff and separates body from soul and everything like that. Yeah.
And the earth or the land probably can never cure itself because the rock god itself, Toshi. I knew it didn't start with an M. Yeah, it's Toshi. Yeah. He's great. And actually his voice is amazing. And in his fight, like it's quite challenging, but it's also quite enjoyable. But when you're like shooting stuff at him and he's just like deflecting everything and just walking towards you, he doesn't give a fuck. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose when it comes to the idea of like how is it that his crystal and his staff is purple and how come he seems to corrupt things? You know, I suppose it's magic, and if we just delve too much into it, we take the magic out of it.
No, I know, and I get that. Yeah. I'm just wondering, was it connected to his own inner pain?
Probably.
Or was because it something that he found?
Because you're fighting a spirit. So the spirit itself is corrupted after what it did.
Yeah.
And he's not willing to let go, which I think is what's causing all the other spirits to almost pretty much be stuck there.
That's the really beautiful thing about it, is in the end, he's actually remorseful.
Yeah.
He's sorry for what happened to his village.
Yeah.
And he genuinely was trying to help his people. He was just overcoming. Like he's not a
villain wanting to conquer. Like he was just he's just blinded by pride and then undone by it.
Yeah. Oh wow. Juxtaposition of
that's another thing.
Quotes like
that's another one that this game has, much like Final Fantasy X. This beautiful scenery juxtaposed against the horror of the corruption and even the corrupted land. That when you like break those weird things that remind me of the giant plant from Jumanji.
Yeah.
Or it reminds me of Poison Ivy. You know, Poison Ivy has those two in Arkham City. Has those two arm things that shoot the spores at you. They kind of remind me of those two. When you destroy them, and then it goes away, and then all the grass grows back, and it becomes lush and beautiful again.
Yeah, I really enjoy that little loop of curing the land around you.
Yeah.
It's satisfying. It's satisfying to see the environment change that way, and then be like, "Oh, I did that. This is actually beautiful."
Yeah. Actually, one thing that I questioned, kind of in the game. You see it a few times, I think, is Kana's hand
Mm-hmm.
has blue. Her like almost veins are like the same blue as the crystal.
Okay.
You notice that?
I didn't actually.
She has like these light blue lines, I think, going up her
Okay.
hand. And she kind of sometimes would put her hand on it and stuff. So I thought to myself, like, was she like, again, this was before you find out her motivation going there. I thought to myself, was she dying? Or was she trying to figure out a way of not to die? Did she have a sickness, and did her village have a sickness? And she was coming to the mountain shrine to see could she find a way to save it or something like that. Because I don't really explain that.
At
They don't
one
explain.
point, I theorized that she was dead.
Mm.
And I actually thought that because of the rule of three, once I kind of figured that, okay, it's a rule of three. So there's going to be 3 of these characters who need 3 relics each, and each of those relics need 3 things, and fucking hell, which can get a little bit overbearing, I think. But once I figured that, I actually thought, okay, each of these 3 characters with their individual masks are her 3 relics.
Oh,
so that she can move on. But then, of course, once you get to the 3rd act and you go, oh no, this is better. I was like, scrap my idea. This is cooler. The whole, yeah, let's do this. The rock god thing. Oh my god, my jaw dropped, and he was like, yeah, let me show you their true form. And he like took them, and their eyes turned red and everything. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? What are you doing to the rot? And they just turned into the most horrible, disgusting monster ever. Like, it was like, horrific.
Yeah, and it still had the spears.
Yeah,
from
when he threw them in.
Toshi, still in it and everything. So fucking cool.
Which is a really cool detail, and it's cool that you end up using them to ultimately defeat it. Yeah, during the holy fuck, like what an epic boss fight. Like
really good.
I hope people play it and get to the end to experience that. I mean, you're listening to this now, so you're probably
you want to experience
hopefully
it,
you have.
If you're listening to this, you have played it and experienced it, know what we're talking about, because it's very like, it's like Legend of Zelda and Bloodborne, I think, kind of slapped together.
Some people as well compare it to God of War.
Yeah, I could see that.
A little bit of that. What do you think of where the controls are mapped on the controller?
I mean, you can get used to them, but some of them are a bit like isn't it? It's like R2 is the
heavy attack, isn't it?
Is the heavy attack, and R1's the light attack.
Mm-hmm.
Even though usually in those sort of games, it's like square or X or something, like, it's one of the actual.
Yeah. I think that is the way it's mapped in God of War, which is why I think it's
kind of reminiscent of God of War as well.
I don't like that. I have to say, it always felt wrong to me to be tapping R1 real fast when fighting enemies. I feel like it should be on the. Yeah, it should. It should be a square or a circle or a triangle or something.
No. Square is light attack, triangle is heavy attack, circle is block, and X is jump. That's the way it's always been.
Yeah,
keep it like that.
And that's why L2 and R2 then is the bow. It's perfect.
L2 and R2 is the bow.
R1 is the bomb.
R1 is the bomb.
L1 is the light.
Yes.
It's like, let's get back to gaming basics here.
So circle isn't block. Circle is
roll, dodge.
Roll and dodge. So what's the button for the rot? Isn't there a button for the rot?
Yeah, but then
but that was aim with the bow, and then you're pressing square or something, isn't it? Or you're holding square, and that's when you use the light attack with the rot. You hold triangle for the heavy attack with the rot.
Man, it took me a while to even realize that there was.
I had to explain to you that you had to use special abilities with the rot.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know how I kind of missed it, because even I ended up going into my menu at one point, and there was loads of abilities I could unlock that I was like,
you didn't unlock any abilities?
No, so I got like a good bit into the game without any abilities.
Fucking fair play.
And I was like, this is a tough game. It got considerably easier when you had all these special abilities. Still a bit of a challenge, but considerably easier. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of okay now. This is like playable. This is not too bad.
Maybe you actually wouldn't be that bad at From Software games, considered.
Oh no, I would. I've tried From Software games. I am awful at them. Awful.
Fine, man. You just get good at it.
I do think that this game is probably harder than people would have expected going in. It's harder than I
Oh yeah.
expected going in.
Oh yeah.
I kind of thought it was going to be a nice, breezy adventure, and
Not really. No.
it kind of wasn't. It kind of kicked the crap out of me.
Yeah. I mean, like I played it on because I played it on normal difficulty,
Mm.
and then I had to drop it easy on Taro because he just kept fucking me up.
Okay, yeah.
My God.
He is a tough fight, but he's cool. Oh man, that animation when the stuff like
Yeah, just
clambers
kind of
onto him and he turns into the. I was like, this is fucking epic,
yeah,
and it's when you get his cutscene afterwards
yeah,
because you're kind of like, yeah, this is fine. This is a fine game, but
yeah.
that cutscene afterwards, you're like, oh, this is unreal.
I'm figuring that because I think it was you and Adam were talking about it. I hadn't played it, and you were saying there's this one cutscene you get to do it, and it's just unreal.
Yeah.
And that's what made me want to buy it because I was
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
this is awesome. Like high praise from Kris.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was that cutscene.
It was exactly that cutscene,
Yeah.
and like I kind of said at the time, I was like, you'll know it when you get there.
Yeah.
And it is that, like, when you get to that cutscene, you're like, this is fucking awesome. And then, yeah, so I was just like hyped to keep going then. But then when I got into that second act, I felt that I had fallen down. And even Adira's story wasn't as interested to me, even though I know there was a love story there. And there's, like, they're all tragic in their own way, whether it's like, it's just that Taro was so young trying to take on a parent's role when he himself was a child. And it was a little bit more heartbreaking to me than the Adira love story of waiting for your loved one to return and then them never coming back or something like that. And then, of course, Toshi's story of being undone by his own, as you were saying, like pride and his own grief and stuff like that is so, like, it just feeds into like the actual flaw of human nature of, like, with the best intentions of the world becoming the world's enemy.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking, like, and it's dark, and it's just like the game is actually a tragedy, really.
Yeah. But it's just like there is so much there that you could continue the world, you could expand upon the world, because like the power of the masks and like don't really have to explain exactly how they work, but it's just like what differentiates between a spirit and not a spirit, and how would someone know that? How does Kina seem to know this is a spirit and this isn't a spirit?
Yeah, it took me a while to even catch on that, like, I didn't know that two kids, for example, were dead. Like, I didn't know that everyone was dead.
No.
I just thought I figured that the rot were spirits. That's what I figured. But I always figured that from like the lead up to it, all the marketing and everything. Kana, Bridge of Spirits. You're Kana and you guide these creatures. I was like, okay. And they always called her a spirit guide. I was like, okay. I was like, the spirits look weird, because I thought that's what they were called at the time. I didn't know they were called the rot.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, the spirits look weird, but they're kind of cute. I thought they're like, when you die, that's your spirit.
That'd be so cool.
So, I mean, cute as fuck.
Yeah.
So that's what I initially thought when I was initially playing the game. And then obviously you kind of realize by the time you get to the whole Taro thing, you're like, oh, they're all dead. Everyone's dead. Okay. Does that mean as well, though, that some of the wood enemies that you're fighting, are they villagers?
They could be.
Are they like cursed spirits of villagers?
They could be. I don't know, because they don't really have, which I kind of wish they had. Because in God of War, when you fight enemies, you unlock like their sort of information about them, and in The Witcher, you unlock the kind of bio. Like, I wish that in Kana they did that. I
do as well. I'd like more information on some of the enemies.
Yeah, because they're really like cool. But yeah, no, it's just that the world, there is so much there to explore. Like, there's definitely a lot of the roots, like the idea of, well, what's a spirit guide's training? What defines a spirit guide? Is there only ever one spirit guide? What are the other villages like? Are there cities? Is everyone dead? Is this technically like a post-apocalyptic world? like, are most people dead? And that's
Yeah.
why it's
How
so.
far did this go?
Yeah, like, are there other types of gods? So you have the rot god. Is there like an air god? Is there a fire god? Is there like, what way is nature done? What's this? God, yeah. If they expand and just tell me all the lore and economic system and my God, it's so
Yeah.
good.
You're a
It'd be
sucker
so
for
good.
that stuff, all right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I am as well. Like I'm if you could get more rich world building from this. And you could, that's the thing. And I
Yeah.
wonder if the best way to do a sequel, even though Kana as a character is a really cool character, and I would like to learn more about her, and they kind of hinted at a backstory, but they kind of kept it back almost as if they hope to do a sequel. But I also wonder if would it be better for the game if the sequel is a totally different area and a totally different character.
With a completely different role in society, like,
Yeah, like a completely different
yeah.
scenario altogether. Or could they have Kana travel to another area that's going through a totally different thing? Maybe
Yeah.
they could do that.
Could do that.
That way, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. You can explore her story more, but you can also like tell a completely different
Kind of story and stuff like that.
story, a different situation,
And
with a
there,
different
and you
god.
could actually, you could do then things like the spirit guiding as sort of like the tomb raiding in the Survivor trilogy.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you know, so, or like hunting monsters in The Witcher. Like, it, like, that's your job. That's part of your, like, so you're doing this other quest for other people, let's say, but then someone might be like, oh, can you please deliver this mask to this particular place, or could you do this or that or whatever?
Could you see going down the line this becoming more of an open world game?
Yeah, I feel like this is one where it would work, I think.
Yeah. The trajectory, I feel, is going that way. Like, this is kind of open world, but it's more Metroidvania.
Yeah, well, yeah, open world, or even like God of War. It's really just open map, but it's just the one area, and so when you do one thing, it opens up the map more. Kind of like, you know, you go to Alfheim in God of War and you come back, and then the world serpent is moved more and the water is dropped more, so therefore you have more of the map to explore.
Yeah. Which is Metroidvania, really, isn't it? The Legend of Zelda follows that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
But Breath of the Wild was open world, wasn't it?
Breath of the Wild was completely open world. The minute you get it, you can go do whatever you want. You can even go fight the last boss straight away.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that. But
I wouldn't recommend it. You get but people have done it.
Yeah,
people have done it.
Because just when you were saying there about, maybe you could ride around on the rock god, maybe that is something that they'll do.
And I could see the land looking like, you know, when you first get out into open world gameplay in Ghost of Tsushima and you just ride out to the fields, that on top of that rock god, oh my God. And I could see it, the green valley, and you got the mountains with the fucking snowy peaks and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
What's your you love this question.
For fuck's sake.
What's your favorite thing about the game?
That's nicer, because it's slightly more broad, like, because that could be like, what's your favorite enemy? What's your favorite hat for the rot?
Yeah. No, I said I would start. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start broad, and then I'm gonna like guide it into until it's like really specific. Like, what is your favorite strand of hair on Kana's head? Eric, for the record, anyone who hasn't like seen a lot of these before or listened to a lot of these before, Eric hates getting favorite questions, even though that's what initially was the point of our podcast.
It was, but yeah, I hate it. What's your favorite color?
What is your favorite color? Why don't we? Yeah, let's put that. What is your favorite color, Eric?
Blue. No, green. That's a joke from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, for anyone who doesn't know that one.
You know, in the old days, you would have told us who starred in that and what else they starred in. You would have read
in the old days, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I DB'd Kada to get Toshi's name.
Oh, did you? He's still doing it, folks.
The voice actor's name actually begins with M. There you go.
Oh, that's what it was. You were mixing up that way. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the voice acting was okay in the game?
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone was like stand out amazing, but I did think the audio mixing was a little off, where the voices
sometimes were
sometimes
really
too
low.
quiet.
Yeah, they were too low, and then
That's one criticism I'd have. But what's your favorite thing about the game?
Everything. No,
Absolutely everything.
everything, even its flaws. It had perfect flaws.
Sure.
Sure. The design and the music, like the cinematics, actually is my favorite thing. Because sometimes I was going, kind of wouldn't mind just watching this as a movie. That sometimes the going from one place to another was a bit like, and I have to run over here and I have to jump up there and oh look, there's another enemy. And like, I got a little like sometimes a little bit like I just loved it because I just thought the cinematics were so good.
Yeah,
they're brilliant, and the music and everything. Yeah, so
it felt very like a PS2 era game.
It did. It really did.
Which I thought that where you're nearly playing to earn that next cinematic.
Yeah,
like I was reminded of, say, even not in gameplay, but like the ethos of playing like Final Fantasy X or whatever, where you're like, the battle system is fine, like it's fine, it's good, it works, and the traversing is fine, but really, I can't wait to get to the next cutscene, which is going to show me the next big thing,
Yeah, and then even at that, like it's like, okay, that was a good cutscene, all right, but I can't wait to get to that next cutscene where it's all CGI and it's fucking awesome.
Which is very like Final Fantasy X, where you're like, the in-game cutscenes are fine, but wait till you get to the fucking CG cutscenes. Yeah, they are fucking sick. They probably are the best thing about the game. And I'm with you. The design and the music. The fucking music. The music is really, really good. Really good. All throughout, really. I think there was like one theme that would play and it would get a little bit annoying because it's just repetitive in the area.
That was the traversal music.
But for the most part, the music's amazing. And oh my God, I'm going to keep bringing it up because it's such an epic part. But like the music during the Rock God fight is so dark and epic and oh, fuck.
I tried actually straight after, I tried to look it up on Spotify to listen to it and I couldn't find it.
The soundtrack?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not on it.
That's a pity because it's so nice. Like it's so good. Just because some of the music is so peaceful and nice that it's kind of like, yes, I'll listen to this and stuff. Kind of like, let's say Hans Zimmer's The Last Samurai soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
At times it's so nice and peaceful to listen to. So tranquil.
There's kind of an Asian influence.
Oh, absolutely. The guy, their names.
But but I do wonder as well, though. Like it's also not necessarily explicitly
Asian.
No,
that's true.
It's just got Asian influences either in the names or in the some of the music and stuff. But like it's not like it doesn't say where it's set or anything like that.
No, but I like that it's its own. Sorry, it's its own unique world.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really nice. That you can kind of see influences, but you can't specifically pinpoint it. Kind of like the elves. They're not saying that the world or land or architecture is anything like the elves of Lord of the Rings, but like the elves of Lord of the Rings is that they actually had Greek influences for the elven armor.
Right. Okay.
Shit, I would never have pictured or seen that at all. But then when they say it, and the fact that when you look at
start
the elves,
to see it then.
The elves have those kind of blade things on their helmets. That's almost like those frilly stuff that the Greek generals would have had on their helmets. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do start to see it. Or like, I didn't think Anglo-Saxon at all with the Rohirrim. They say it, and you're like, because I always
see it. Yeah, we always thought Vikings.
I thought Vikings were Celts, but they went Anglo-Saxon and stuff. Which is really great. And I think Ao, either in Rohirrim or in Anglo, means horse.
I think it's in Rohirrim, but I think it's
like it's of Anglo. Yeah, Ao is so like the world building Tolkien does is amazing, but that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about Lord of the Rings. Maybe another time.
We can. We always can. We always will. Like that's another favorite of ours.
Yeah.
Coming up soon, actually.
20th anniversary.
20th anniversary of the Fellowship of the
Everyone
Ring.
keeps going on about Harry Potter. What the fuck? Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's also the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter, and both were very influential in different people's childhoods. And for some people, both were influential in you know,
Yeah.
that both were just as influential. So it's a
Yeah, I
big
think
year for both.
Yeah. 19th of December 2020. No, 19th December 2000. Isn't that 2001?
2001,
Yes.
because we're in
I forgot.
2021 now.
Yeah, I forgot what year we were in.
You do the maths. That's because COVID.
Yeah, it's because of COVID. Yeah, we missed a year or two.
COVID is like the infected nature in Cana. And
Yeah, it's like the corruption.
took everything away, and nobody knows where they are, and everyone's looking for their masks so that they can move on. The face masks.
Oh my God, this game got so much better. It's
this game is actually it's a metaphor for COVID.
COVID. Everyone is a ghost of their former selves.
The masks that are in it are actually really fucking cool.
Really awesome design. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're iconic, really, because you look at them and you can just kind of like the fact that they're all as well unique. Like Taros is a fox. You have, what is the name of the master? The hunter chap.
Oh, I can't remember. I really can't remember. It's because because I played it so spread out.
Oh yeah, I suppose yeah.
It's been so long since I seen him.
Yeah, and then but he has like the owl mask and then a deer. I didn't really. Natoshi's is like a deer mask almost because it's got these antlers.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what a deer's mask is though.
It's I think it's somewhat reminiscent of the ox.
Oh, is it?
But it's not very obvious. It's not as obvious as the fox, which, to be honest, I think the fox mask was my favorite. Even though some of the other ones were creepier. It was just
it was creepy, but also nice. You could see that it was.
You can see that it used to be good before it was bad, and it's simplistic in its design, where it's instantly recognizable. Like I think if you were to recreate one of these masks and then wear it at, say, a Comic-Con or something, right? And if someone was familiar with the game, if you had the fox mask, they'd be like, "Oh, that's from Cana." I think the other ones though, it's like, what are you? You're like a wood monster, are you? Or, you know, not as instantly recognizable. I don't think. Like even now, we're like, what was a deer is again?
Yes, yeah.
We played the whole game, whereas the fox mask is like, and it looked really cool when you wore it as Cana as well.
Yes, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, the visual, those cinematics were so good.
They're good.
So good.
Yeah. They're really, really good. I'd rewatch them again on YouTube. I will say that I don't know how replayable this game is.
Yeah, I feel
like I've experienced it, and that's kind of.
I think I would rather watch someone else play it that has never played it before. Like
see their emotional response. Like,
yeah. Oh, that's another thing. It didn't make me cry, and I was slightly disappointed by that. Because at the start of it, when I was getting the Taros, I was like, "Oh, this is a game that's going to pull on the heartstrings, isn't it? This game's going to get me." And by the end of it, it didn't.
Right.
And I was thinking, like, this moment of when,
and it feels like it could have,
and it should have,
yeah. and it would have,
and it would have if they had played on the whole young Cana story more. And her having to grow up really quickly, because even she had to grow up quickly.
Yeah.
And be a lot more mature than, you know, the age that she was. Like, she was really mature during it. But like when she sees her and she's looking for her dad when she has the staff, you know, the staff is way too big for her and everything like that.
Yeah,
you know,
that bit's really, really
nice moment.
It is powerful. It's touching. Like.
Yeah. But that would have been a moment that if I had more connection to Cana as a character, it would have I would have probably had some tears.
I think that's a really good point. I don't think I would have cried. I don't cry as much. But I do think that's a really good point. That the character of Cana is underwritten. Yeah. And that is one of the flaws of the game, unfortunately, because she is the character that we're trying to identify with.
Yeah. And she and in the moments that she does talk and in the moments where she is like the actress performing, does a really good job. And she's a really good character. She's a really cool character.
She's the kind of hero that I appreciate more now that I'm older.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I would have hated her. Not hated her, but I would have just thought she was bland.
Right. Yeah.
For whatever fucking reason, when I was a kid, I just thought all heroes need to be like flawed and fucking dark, and they have a secret past that they're trying to run away from, and you know they all have to be Batman or Blade or something like that.
Or Solid Snake.
Yeah, they have to be badass. And Whereas now it's like I could see the strength in characters who are like overwhelmingly good in a world that's hard to be good in. You start to appreciate those kind of heroes more, I think, when you, I could be wrong, but when you get older and you experience more of how harsh the world can be,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when you start to appreciate those kinds of heroes. Same
Yeah,
with like Superman was always boring to me when I was younger. But now to be able to appreciate how easy it would be for him not to be as good as he is because of what he's capable of doing and the restraint that he shows all the time.
Yeah.
You then realize you're like, oh, he's actually a really fucking good hero because he absolutely doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
But he wants to be.
Yeah. It's like,
good
again, good going back to Lord of the Rings. It's like growing up, Aragorn is the cooler hero. Like
he's the hero, right?
He's the hero. He's awesome. He's badass. He doesn't want to be king. He's throwing that away. Oh,
he's still,
awesome.
like he's still badass. Don't get me wrong. But,
no, he's still badass. But Sam, man, fucking Sam.
Sam is now the hero who makes me cry.
Yeah.
As I get older and I rewatch it, and I go, man, Sam is like, yes, he doesn't have a badass backstory, and he didn't go through amazing training, and he can't take on the world, but he's going to try despite that, and he's going to put his life on the line to protect the things that he loves, which are the simple things like flowers and potatoes and the beautiful world. Kena is more like Sam.
Kena is like Sam. Yeah.
And she's really likable, but I do wish she was more explored.
Yes. Yeah, because Sam is explored enough that you can get behind him and everything like that. Like the moment they're on the volcano. You know?
Oh, stop. Don't do it.
Yeah. I get you with that one. No, not right now, but anyway, because it'll end up getting me.
No, the bit that gets you though is if the music is playing and you just reenact the scene from when he's following Frodo.
No, to be honest,
into the
you know what
boat,
gets me? You know what's the first thing? You know what's the first thing that gets me in Lord of the Rings?
What's that?
The minute the Shire music plays. The fucking start of the movie.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's like, because that's what you're fighting for. That's what Kena be fighting for. That's what I don't know. Suppose Aloy would be fighting for too, because she's fighting against the corruption as well. That'd be eating away at the nature of the world. And it's like, that's the shit that we should all be fighting for, is that beauty of the natural world.
Yeah. There's definitely you can look at the metaphors in this of man corrupting nature, or just you can look at it from a climate change point of view.
Yeah,
the world is poisoned, the world is fucked, and it needs to be saved and preserved.
Yeah.
There is that metaphor in there, and my awareness of that whole issue originally started with Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, because they deal with it a lot, don't they?
They dealt with that a huge amount, but ever since then, anything that touches on that topic, even though I'm not an activist, I never have been. We probably all should be, really, on an issue like that where it is directly going to affect all of us. But I mean, I can't go and claim I've done so much because I haven't. I really haven't done. But it is always in any fantasy story or any kind of story where that is an issue in it, I usually connect with it.
Yeah,
in some way, shape, or form.
Dark Crystal does it.
Lord of the Rings, Final Fantasy VII, this game, Horizon was another one. I usually instantly connect with that situation for whatever reason. And I think we probably all would, because it's just, it gets to the root of being human. It's like, this is our world, and if the world dies, we die too.
Yeah.
Simple maths, really.
Yeah, and it's about thinking beyond yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Batman is, sure, he's saving Gotham, but he's doing it as sort of a therapy session for himself. Snake is dragged into everything because that's just what he's a pessimistic arsehole who's like, this is all I'm good at doing, so I'll just do it.
Lads, hold on now. Okay, yes, Batman fights crime for his own therapy, but there's more to him than that. It's not just for him.
Oh yeah, no, he does do it because he
A
doesn't
lot of it's
want
for him.
any, and he doesn't want any child to ever have to. Doesn't want any more 8-year-old boy to watch his parents get gunned down in
Yeah,
an alleyway.
he
Yeah,
wants to make Gotham a better place.
yeah.
Genuinely.
And well, all the heroes do. Spider-Man would be the same. Spider-Man is
Yeah.
Spider-Man because he doesn't want anyone to have to experience losing their uncle over just a simple carjack.
Mhm.
You know, like but when it comes to preserving and saving the natural world,
Yeah.
it's beyond even that goal because you have to think about the fact that not only would it lead to the death of pretty much every human, it's leading to the death of all life.
Yeah.
Every
Animals,
single
everything. Yeah.
everything. So that's what I mean by thinking beyond yourself. Thinking beyond yourself, even as a species.
That's one thing that maybe the game was missing. As you heal the world, it would have been nice to see some kind of
Animals and stuff.
animals around.
Mm.
You don't really see any kind of wildlife, and I suppose the closest thing you get to that, other than the rot, which very much they become an animal, would be the ox, which is more of a stone giant thing, but at least
It's construct.
it's reminiscent of an animal. And it was really cool, but it would have been nice even to see, like, as you heal the place and all the flowers kind of start growing and the grass grows. It'd be nice to see even like little butterflies flying.
There was
around
the
and stuff.
frogs. Remember the frogs?
Oh yeah, there was the frogs actually. That's
Yeah, there was a pond of frogs.
true.
I think but yeah, no, I agree. Like if you started to like after you've let's say defeated Taro and you're going through the forest, if you could see like a deer or something, you hear birds
Or even
chirping
like
now,
because it would have
actually you see a fox.
yeah, I was just gonna say, if you saw like a little fox in the distance run off or something, and like you can look at it two ways. That's either just a fox coming back to the land because the land is okay again, or it's like, is that like Taro moving on?
Yeah,
In a way, like the spirit
be
moving on or
nice,
something like that.
nice
Like, it'd be
symbology in
nice.
two ways. But yeah,
Yeah, so that kind of stuff would be good, because I do think there's probably, you could read into the game, I think there's probably a lot of symbology in the designs and in what's actually happening in it. What was your favorite boss fight in the game? Because there's many.
it's been a very long time since I've played the game.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. It's been like 2 days, long time. No, not really. It's been a good few, like a month ago. So the Wrath God is pretty cool. I'll admit. Probably just because it's the first major boss fight would probably be Taro's. It's just it's quite iconic. It's quite cool. Like it stands out. You know what I mean? Just the moment of all that stuff coming in, becomes a giant fox, and he's got the big fucking sword. Even though he killed me a bunch of times, I had to drop the difficulty during that fight. But
It is a really good
fight.
fight.
Cool, iconic, and the lighting and everything for it. Like it was just, I was like, oh my god, this is so cool.
The lightning effects throughout are really, really good. Yeah.
So yeah, probably the Taro boss fight.
Yeah, I really like that one. I have to say though, and the Rock God as well is obviously particularly epic, but that Hunter boss fight, it was just so.
Oh, okay.
I loved it. It just felt like a PS2 era boss fight. It just felt like I was in Snake Eater.
See, because I
fighting either the end
yeah.
or the fear or something like that. Yeah.
See, I didn't get to experience that fight that much because I killed her in like 2 seconds. Like
Right,
I defeated her really quickly, so I was like, oh, okay. But I did get like that sense of like, oh, this is like the fear.
It took me a bit. Like I did it in one go, but the fight went on for a bit for me. But also earlier on, the reason I like that fight so much is a lot of the other bosses, I felt like it's like they just kind of like, obviously some of the main ones are an exception. Taro, you know that you're looking for Taro, and it builds up to that fight. So that's a very epic boss fight. But some of those other like mini bosses throughout, they're just sprung on you.
Yeah.
And then you're just fighting them and you know nothing about them or anything like that. Not that you learn anything about the hunter, but in that little area when you're leading up, there's like traps. And if you get caught in the trap, invisible arrows come at you.
Oh.
Right?
Right.
Which happened to me. And I was like, fuck, I need to avoid those traps. And I didn't know where that came from. And when I finally got to fighting her, I realized, oh, that was her.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so she's been hunting me in this area. So I've actually been stalked by this boss. So there was actually a lead up to this boss.
I didn't realize that.
And to me, that was cool. That gave her a bit of character, that she was actually out hunting me, and then we had our final showdown, where she kind of had to come out of the shadows, and we had to actually like fight with our bows, which was great.
Yeah. Speaking of actually, when it came to the mini bosses that did come out of nowhere, like I just remember one was called the Kappa. Do you remember that one? It used to go into the water, then come back out, and you fought in a cave.
Oh yeah.
That's actually based on, and I was like, this is where again I was like, holy shit! Actually, the designs for this are really cool, and why I wish the enemies had like a bio, like a little drawn, their name and some information, because the Kappa is based on a Japanese mythological creature.
Oh really?
That kind of looks like a humanoid turtle creature, and that it kind of does look like that, and it always sticks to water, and it has a hollow skull with water there, and the Kappa in the game has that too.
That's really cool.
So just like getting that design, are they all kind of like that?
Yeah, and I suppose there's no way to know unless you know the names of the different of what they call the different enemies. Did you find any of the puzzles particularly challenging? There was one or two towards the end I had to Google what to do because I really wanted to push on.
One, I think I had to Google one of them, and that was actually in the tarot sequence. Because you had to go up really high, and I like didn't really know how to get there, so I Googled it, and I was like, what the hell do you do? Where do you go? How do you get up there? And they were like, oh, you just do this, and this. I'm like, that's wonderful. How do I do that? Explain to me where I'm going. Eventually, I kind of went, oh, I just jump up there. Okay.
I always found it very stressful whenever I had to like throw a bomb at rocks that would come out. They have a certain amount of time before they go back, and sometimes you'd even have to like shoot them to flip them the right way around. And I was always like, okay, I would never jump the first time. I would always throw the bomb and watch until they go back in to see
how long,
where did they position, how long will I have, and where exactly am I going.
Okay,
I could never do it just in the moment. I was never that quick. So I was always a bit stressed about those bits. I was like, fuck, here's another, because I was like, I really don't want to fall down to the bottom and do it again.
There's a lot of them in the Adira section.
There is. Yeah, I just generally found that middle chunk of the game, which, I mean, I suppose if any part of a game is going to dip, it probably would be the middle normally.
Yeah.
If it starts strong to hook you in and it ends strong to leave you with a memory of, that was fucking awesome. Which is ultimately how I feel about the game. It's like I was hooked in at the beginning and I left going, that was awesome. But there was a middle chunk where I lost interest.
Yeah.
And it just became a little monotonous and a little bit like I just don't have the drive to find these things.
Yeah.
But then I think people will feel differently. Like some people might really connect with Adira's character. Or the backstory there, or the love story there. They might find that a more interesting or more endearing character study. And they might be like, no, you're fucking wrong. The middle section is the best part. What are you talking about? Or they might really like that boss fight. That actually was probably one of my least favorite boss fights too. I know you were over, you showed me what, at first I didn't know what to do, but it wasn't just for that reason. Even when I found out what to do, I thought it was a boring boss fight. I didn't think it was anywhere near as engaging as Taro or as engaging as Toshi.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit more like Adira ended up looking like one of the many big enemies.
Enemies you just fight anyway. Yeah.
So I was like, the focus was more on the weird contraption in the middle, which gave Adira kind of invincibility. The focus was on that instead of on her.
Yeah.
So for me, that boss fight kind of felt uninteresting. It fell flat a bit.
That's fair.
How did you feel about that boss fight?
I didn't mind it. Just one enemy in a long line of enemies I have to beat the shit out of.
And they all felt my wrath.
Yeah. They all felt my wrath. My rot.
Feel my rot. I like it. Rot was going on in this game, was it? It's sort of, because the story took a while to catch up and get going, but By the end,
I see. I
by
still
the end
would,
it clicks. You still know.
Yeah.
You get what's going on by the end.
Yeah, you get what's going on by the end. It's still a really solid story.
Mhm.
Visuals and sound effects and music is brilliant. I still wouldn't call them the rot. I know, like you explained at the start
Sure.
of this.
Yeah.
I would call them spirits or sprites or fairies or something like that. I
Yeah.
would just call the enemies the rot, because there's so many games out there which is like, oh, the corruption spreading. Oh, the enemies are the corruption. I mean, that's the entirety of Darksiders 2. That's
Mhm.
the main enemy, is the corruption. So I think the
Right.
rot
So you would have
been,
called the enemies the rot.
yeah, because it looks like
Was
they're
just rotting
coming
away. Yeah.
they're coming from the rotten land and they're rotted spirits, and like, you know, it just made more sense.
And what would have been a good alternative? I agree with you there. I do think that would have been a more fitting naming. But what would have been a fitting name then for the rot that are in this game?
Fairies, I suppose, or something, or like, you know, the fact that they called them kappas. You know, the fact that they had a kappa in it, which is Japanese, and it is somewhat inspired by Japanese because the names are relatively Japanese.
Yeah.
I think Hana is a Japanese name as well as somewhere else. So I would have like looked for some sort of small Japanese creature, looked for something that was of Asian sort of Far Eastern culture, and sort of name them after that, maybe, or like do a variation of that name.
I think it would have been very fitting to call them, but maybe given the art style and stuff, like people would have drawn comparisons, and even the tone of it. Like maybe they didn't want further comparisons.
I'd
But
name them
Wisps.
after Wisps.
Yeah, because I do think Ori and the Will of the Wisps is another game that will be compared in terms of art style.
That's fair.
But I look at them and I just think they're like little wisps.
That's not the name I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say the is Gremlins. You know those little furry chaps? What are they called again?
Oh, Mogwais.
Yeah, because that's Japanese.
No, I definitely wasn't thinking that at all. And I don't think there's comparisons with them really.
What? There's so much comparison. They come together and they cause havoc.
Don't feed them after midnight.
Don't feed them after midnight.
Big mistake. Isn't that the little fuckers? Do you remember that in Gremlins? They break the clock so that he doesn't know what time it is.
Yeah.
So that he will feed them.
Yeah.
After, so they like they know what will happen if they eat after midnight or something, or
must do. And Furby is the only one, or Kirby or whatever his name is.
Gizmo.
Kirby. Kirby's the car.
Gizmo.
No,
Herbie. Herbie is the character.
Who the fuck is Kirby?
Kirby is a character from Nintendo who's getting. They're making a Last of Us Kirby.
Are they? Oh yes,
kind of. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Kirby the Lost Kingdom or City or whatever the fuck it's called.
Something like that. Yeah, definitely. Okay, 2 more questions before we finish our discussion on Kena, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Who is your favorite character of the characters that you meet in this game? And of course, it can be Kena.
I mean, Kena was cool, but probably the mentor with the owl mask.
Yeah, isn't it a shame that we can't think of his name? Because I think he's my favorite character too. He sounded kind of like Liam Neeson. I know, obviously, is not, but
he's not. He's definitely not Liam Neeson. Hold on.
He kind of had that tone of his voice.
No, it wouldn't be that. No, it wouldn't be that. Wouldn't be that. Oh, okay. 1 second. Oh, so that's the 2 kids. Is it? Kena, Sai, and Benny are the kids. Toshi is the master. Zajuro is the mentor. Taro is the, obviously, first one. Rusu?
That sounds about right.
Rusu, and then you have Hana and Adira.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you have young kids. All right, so Rusu is the name of the. Yeah, he was cool. He was awesome.
Yeah, I loved him so much that I couldn't remember his name. No, but because I kind of wanted him to show up again, and when he didn't, I was a little disappointed. And Hannah's a cool character, but I just didn't connect with her as much. I thought Rusu was just so fucking cool.
Yeah.
That I would have liked him to kind of guide me throughout the journey, to be honest. And I'd like to have learned more about him.
Yeah, see, I would have liked for by the end of it, you have sort of a fellowship.
Yeah.
You have Hannah and you have Adira and you have Rusu and you had, well, maybe not a deer. You would have sent a deer off and you sent Taro off. But if you
Yeah,
had
but your
Hannah,
companions, the little kids and everything, they're like your little Mary and Pippin.
Saya and Benny, and you
Yeah.
had Hannah and you had Rusu, and then you had Zajuro, and they're the kind of people by the end. And they give you, maybe after you get defeated the first time by Toshi, it is them who take you out of the spirit realm, that they guide you back out. So yeah, that'd be like, it would be nice for all of them to for it all to culminate. This is your journey coming together, and here's the people that you helped, and now they're helping you, paying back to. That would be nice.
Yeah, it feels like Ember Labs have done a fantastic job here, but it feels like in some ways they're like holding themselves back or something.
Yeah,
it's like they made great characters, like own it and like force us to spend more time with them and like really go for it, because like they really are great. And to be honest, I know I have a feeling that everyone figured the Rot were what's going to steal the show. They're cute, but I was more invested in some of the other characters than I was in the Rot, actually. The Rot became more of a game mechanic to me, and really only became so fucking cool to me when I realized what they actually are in the final story.
I mean, they're the cute little Disney animal, aren't they? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like, they're not unwelcome or anything like that. I do.
Oh
like
God,
them.
No. I love their little kind of like cinematics when you find them.
And like, they're really fucking cute. And like, you know, if I had a plushie of one, I'd be like, cool, I have a plushie of a fucking, you know, a little Rot. But they're not the reason I bought the game. I actually got the game because I liked the vibe of the world. And that ultimately is I think the best part of the game is the world itself and the characters that inhabit it. The final question then is this game, we'll probably talk about the nominees for Game of the Year.
Oh, I know what you're
and all those categories and stuff like this.
No.
I'm not getting there yet. Don't worry, you'll get there later on in the year. No, I'm just asking, would this be up there for you as a contender for like a, and I can spoil by the way, because people can go check it out. This isn't up for Game of the Year.
Yeah, okay.
This game is not. But for you, would it have been a contender in your own personal list?
Well, yeah, I suppose, because there hasn't been a lot of games this year. So
there's been loads. It's just, well, there probably haven't been many that caught your eye.
No, yeah, that's true. But yeah, no, I put it up there.
Yeah, I would as well. I do. I actually think it's really, really solid. Definitely
considering, again,
for one of my favorite games this year.
Again, considering this is an indie company, first time making a game, like you said, there's no glitches, there's no bugs, it's not crashing or breaking like 2042, it's not crashing or breaking like the definitive GTA trilogy or Cyberpunk 2077. Like this really well done game. And it felt like PS2. I like, it was when I was playing the Adira section, I was like, this brings me back to PS2 days where you could just play these games for hours and hours on end and just love them all the time. Like, because I just find that a lot of the games nowadays are just so story driven.
Sure.
That it makes it hard to replay them. But anyway,
and on that, actually, I do think as well, the other thing that makes it very like a PS2 era game is it doesn't really hold your hand. It doesn't give you hints or clues as to what to do or where to go. No. And you just kind of have to get there yourself or look up a guide, which is what you often have to do with those older games. People always had walkthroughs and guides back then. So it is kind of, and the fact that it's like a Zelda game, this game is old school with a new skin.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. But we would love to hear from you guys, all your thoughts on Kena Bridge of Spirits. So if you've been watching this on YouTube, please do jump down in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on Kena Bridge of Spirits. And for you personally, is it a contender for one of your favorite games this year? Or how did you think about the game overall and all the stuff that we brought up during the discussion? If you enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click the notification bell. If you listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to give your take on Kena Bridge of Spirits. Thank you very much for listening and for watching, everybody. And we'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.